right, we're back. We're going to get a skeleton, but someone asked me to ask you about Gene Simmons. Does that ring a bell for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
There's kind of like, I remember I was outside of, I worked with Gene a little bit. Well, there's some good stories here. We did this album with Capitol Records, and our manager, who we had different viewpoints, and we were at the time we had gone from punk, and now we were more into the heavy metal stuff, and we really loved all that stuff, Judas Priest, and nobody was listening to that stuff then, and we were listening to Priest and Ozzy and Motorhead and everything like that. And we had some opportunities to go on tour with Judas Priest, and my manager said, no. Then we had an opportunity to go on tour with Ozzy, and he said, no, they're going to be better than us. So we ended up, all of a sudden the record, maybe wasn't going as good as Capitol Records thought it was going. So we went on tour with Kiss, and I loved it. I mean, we went on, I remember getting on stage, and Gene came up and said, welcome aboard. And he did this thing, he did this bass solo on, I forget the name of the song, rock and roll, I don't know, one of these great, and he was just fantastic. It was like a kabuki doll. It was the last makeup tour. And Gene was a really, he really had it together, and I really appreciate Kiss. And one of the things, they made some mistakes, though, because we used to put up a lot of amplifiers that we knocked over. But I remember they had a line of amplifiers that go, whoa, look at all those Marshalls. Then the lights hit them, and all the speakers are empty. Now, in our band, we didn't have as many speakers, but we paid attention to the details. We made sure we put plywood and covered those holes, so when the light hit it, they didn't look empty. But Gene, what happened was that he ended up working with Wendy, and they decided to take the band another direction towards, and it was sort of the end of the Plasmatics, and that was so I'm a little sad about that. But things had to end.
Right, and then you had your own project after that.
Yeah. But I remember Gene, though, I saw him outside of Electric Lady one time. We were talking about stuff. He said, punk doesn't sell. And I remember he was like, well, he was wrong on that one,
Well, it does today.
Yeah, exactly.
Because anti-fashion always turns into the fashion
of
tomorrow, right?
Green Day and all that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, a skeleton from your closet. And then one other question I have, actually, but I'll try to remember that.
Well, the skeleton is, okay, I know I'm talking here a lot. The skeleton involves a little shoplifting.
Yay!
Today's theme.
Okay.
I know, I seem like such a... Oh, well.
So when I was a kid, and I'm talking about when I was a kid in the 1960s, so I love the Mothers invention, the Mothers. I mean, Frank Zappa, but I like to call it the Mothers, And so my mother was shopping for my school clothes probably in the summer. I think it was something like this, a place called Caldor.
I remember Caldor.
And I was getting like the school shops clothes, and there was the the Mother's album, Freak Out. And I don't think my father would appreciate me buying that, plus I didn't have any money. So I put the Freak Out album in my mother's bag, and so that was my first shoplifting. It doesn't end there.
No, then you had to get more stuff.
Well,
your mom found it?
So then I'm going to continue the long version quickly. So then I got my parents wouldn't let me go to the Fillmore, so I said, but I had tickets to see my first concert down at Portchester in Westchester to see the Mothers of Invention. This was like 1968. So we all smoked pot, we're sitting outside the theater, we get there, boom, it's canceled. And I actually cried, But then, fast forward to like 1977, 78, and this is when I had a blue mohawk and I had a leather jacket and all that type of stuff. And I'm in the Mud Club, right? And I'm like, wow, there's Frank Zappa.
Wow.
So then I'm like, maybe 6 months later, I'm up at the guitar store, it's up at, 48th Street and stuff. They says, stop. This guy, Richie Flieger, actually told me this. He works for, I'm going to drop another name, he's a great guitar player. He's a vice president of sales for Fender. But, at the time he was just repairing guitars. He says, Rich, he says, did you hear that song called the Mud Club? I think it's called the Mud Club. Yeah, the Mud Club. I know. And if you read the lyrics, he talks about a big tall guy with a blue mohawk and a leather jacket.
Oh my God.
So I never got to see the mothers, but I love the mothers.
And they wrote about you.
Yeah, I guess so.
Now, I was asked to ask you, would you produce any new bands? There's a band that are these girls that are freaking amazing called Out of Order.
Oh, they're
And
incredible.
they asked me to ask you,
Wow.
okay, are you
What a
listening?
great marriage that would
I'm
be.
asking if you would consider possibly producing them.
They're hot. They really are.
Well, you know, my only time I ever wanted to produce a band, I was
They are.
Yeah, they are.
I rehearsed up at the music building on 38th Street, and the Lunatics were upstairs or downstairs, I forgot. And I really, really loved it. I thought they
I
really
love the
had.
Lunatics.
And I had a little funding or something. I don't know what was going on. And I tried to work with him. It didn't work out. It wasn't anything bad.
Right.
But sure, I'd love to try.
Ah, you hear
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
All right.
That's
All right,
awesome.
I'm gonna hook you up with them.
Very
Okay.
good band.
Well, what's the name of the
Wow.
band?
Out of Order. OOO they go by.
Great.
And
They're
they're three girls, they're young, they're
Really, really
they're
good
really
musicians.
good.
Are they in the city here?
They're in
or-
Long Island.
Okay.
Yeah, but they can come, you know.
Okay. Well.
They're going to be on my Brooklyn edition in August of
Okay.
ReW and WhO, and their dad manages them. He's totally cool. Sal, you're watching, I know. And Sal asked me to ask you.
Okay.
All right, we're going to make a love affair.
Okay.
So, did you take your fortune? Did you read your fortune?
Okay.
Let's see what it is. You need help? Let's see.
Let's see here. The upper road often has the most spectacular scenery.
There you go. Yeah.
Lovely.
Sounds good to me. All right, will you come and visit again, Everett?
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
yay. Mwah.
Nice
Oh, my
meeting you,
God.
Allison.
Richie Stotts, thank you so much for coming. We'll be back. More New York, New York.